All right, everybody, it is officially March of 2020, and you know what that means. It's time for a most anticipated releases of 2020 video. Why so late? Because it's me, and I'm usually late with things. If I'm ever frequently on time, you know I've been murdered and someone is impersonating me. But I'm gonna go ahead and do my 10 most anticipated releases, but we're gonna get to that after we go through just some, I think other people might be interested in these ones, and I don't know about these ones, don't ask, and don't make the easy low-hanging jokes in the comment, we've all heard them a million times. And let's start with those ones, shall we? Doors of Stone! I don't know if it'll come out this year. Stop asking. Why would I know? I have no affiliation with the people in charge of getting this out. Just stop it. I will say though, if this book does come out this year, what I want to see most is, of course, Patrick Rothfuss proven right, his most diehard fans proven right, and it to be this grand, scheming, unreliable narrator, brilliant masterpiece that ties all these plot threads together. I sincerely, genuinely hope that. I always want the best possible scenario for books like these, so I'm pulling for you guys, and I really am looking forward to this book eventually coming out. Next up in the I don't know, don't ask me about it category is Winds of Winter. I will say we have gotten a blog post from George R. Martin that says he's spending more time in Westeros than he is actually in the real world writing so much, and the pandemic might be contributing to him doing that more than he was before. So, hey, it took a pandemic to get Martin to work really hard on it, but he's getting there. He's getting there, and I don't know if it'll be released this year. What would I like to see? Different progression in the show. Let's just have these two diverge, divorce, and have the show over here in a pile of whatever the hell happened there, and we'll have the books and their own beautiful direction as well. So that's what I really want to see for the future of A Song of Ice and Fire. Let's have George R. R. Martin have complete freedom to do whatever the hell he wants with it, and what happened with the show to be forgotten. I do find it genuinely incredible that that show ended so badly that we are seeing the entire world basically being forced to stay in self-quarantining in their own apartments. And I have not heard from one person that they are rewatching Game of Thrones. Not one single individual, and I know a lot of fantasy nerds, is currently going through that show again in my circles. I'm sure people are, but you'd think I would know a few. I don't know one, because of how badly that show ended. They are just, nope, not going through. Wow, that is an impressive accomplishment. And now for the next category, which is books that I'm not necessarily excited for, but I know other people are, so I still want to cover them here to put them in your sphere of knowledge. And I'm not excited either because I haven't read the books that precede the ones in these series that these books take place in, or I haven't read other books by this author, and I need to. I know, I haven't done Doctor Strange and Mr. Norrell. I need to. Everyone tells me I need to. I will get there. I pinky promise. It's on my shelf. But speaking of Susanna Clarke, we have Piranesi, and I wasn't able to get a release date for this one. It's the only one of all the other books I've gotten to this list that I can't find a release date for. Actually, I found 4 different release dates for it, all listed in different places, and I didn't know which one to trust. But at some point this year, we are getting this next book by Susanna Clarke. I know she has mega fans all over the place, so I'm excited for you guys to be excited about this book coming out. That's how that works. I'm just pumped for you. We also have A Time of Courage coming out this year. I've seen quite a bit of buzz about this. Unfortunately, I'm not hyper aware of it, so it's not making my official top 10 most excited list. But I am, maybe gonna pick it up. I hope to. I got so much I gotta read though that's not coming out this year. I'm constantly going back and forth. I'm trying to read what's coming out this year, what's not. It's gonna be difficult, but I'll get there. Next up, we have A Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, which is the next Hunger Games one. I'm not much of a Hunger Games person. I'm not a Hunger Games hater. I just haven't really read the books. I don't care to. This subgenre isn't exactly my taste, but hey, I'm sure this will sell a goddamn jillion copies, so I'm gonna put it in here because I know a lot of you are probably gonna be picking this one up. And to the Hunger Games fans, are you excited to see the series continue, or does this kind of feel unnecessary? Where is the general vibe of the fan base going? Because I know sometimes it just feel like they're milking it to a point, or was this a planned, natural next step? I don't know. I haven't read the books. I think I watched the movies at some point, maybe, I don't remember. And as far as I can tell, they'll be coming out May 19th, though I saw so many conflicting release dates for a lot of these books, so double check on your own. It's incredible to me how often publishers just seem to be giving people conflicting information, or I guess websites are just making guesses and throwing shit at the wall and leaving them up there. It's weird. There's a lot of conflicting release dates for books in this world. And the final of the, hey, it's not really in my top 10, but I think you might be pumped for it, will be Harrow the Ninth, which is coming out June 2nd. The only reason this isn't in my top 10 probably is because I haven't read the book that comes before it. I've heard it's really good from its fans. That was redundant. Of course, its fans are going to say it's really good. But yeah, I know this one, a lot of people want to pick it up. Oh, it's exciting. Gives me some creep vibes from the cover. Look at that. That's a spooky guy. Spooky face. And now, not really in any particular order, but kind of in like a top 10 order, so take that with a grain of salt. We have my most anticipated releases of 2020. And first up, we have 10 Arrows of Iron by Sam Sykes, the sequel to Seven Blades in Black. I liked Seven Blades in Black. I thought it had a whole lot of good going for it. And Sam Sykes is an author, from what I understand, who is rapidly improving, although I haven't read more of his work. This is just what I'm seeing from other reviewers and blogs talking about the guy's back catalog. So I'm really amped to see what he can bring to this series that has a lot that is just hooking me in. There's a nice atmosphere, humor, characterization, world building. There were just a couple blunders in Seven Blades in Black that didn't make me love it, and I think Sam could definitely recover and propel this series into the upper, higher tiers of modern fantasy. So I'm gonna be picking this one up first day of release, I'm pretty sure, and diving head on into it. And it's supposed to be released August 4th, so we got quite a bit of time off. It's in the distance, on the horizon, like you see it. It's just far away. Next up, we have Fires of Vengeance, which is the sequel to Rage of Dragons, one of my favorite books of last year. Evan Winter is a just smash hit success for the fantasy genre right now. The guy wrote such an epic tale that was a blend of African and European cultures, military fantasy, knocked it out of the park. I've talked about it endlessly on this channel. You guys know how I feel about it. And yeah, we're having the sequel, Fires of Vengeance, coming November 10th. And there are conflicting dates out there for this one, but I am 100% sure that this date as of right now is correct, because we have this tweet from the author, which is saying, hey, guess what? November 10th. Bam, we got it. All right, cool. No more debate. The author himself right there. It's wrong on Google. Google, why aren't you fixing it? It's probably really hard. There's a lot of books coming out, so I don't blame them for having some misinformation. Like, I get it, but come on. And while we're talking about November releases, let's just go ahead and bring on in the cover we just got from Rebecca Kwong, The Burning God. I'm really amped for this one as well. It's an incredibly realistic and harsh look at fantasy inspired by real-world Eastern history. Oh, is it dark. It's dark, it's great, it's wonderful, and it's the final book in the trilogy, so I cannot wait. I'm drooling, I'm salivating to finish this one up, because I really like the Poppy War, I loved the Dragon Republic, and I want this. Give it now. I want it now. Give me this book. It's coming out also November 17th. Let me double check. I remember correct. November 17th. I'm really pumped. And this was also like a for sure confirmed date as far as I'm aware. Next up, we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is coming from Victoria Schwab. And this might be surprising to some people to see this on my list, because I really didn't fall in love with her very, very successful series, Darker Shade of Magic. But I did see the potential and appeal of this author. And it just wasn't necessarily that story that hooked me. It just kind of was a really good execution of things I'd seen before, and I really want to see what Schwab can do with a more original story. And from the description that is available online for this upcoming Schwab release, that seems to be the goal of this story, is something that's a bit more outside the box, so I am going to be getting that going day one. And this one is also very much so in the distance, maybe not even on the horizon. It's really far, far away. It's gonna be October 6th, which, you know, most of the books I've been talking about here are pretty far down the road. In fact, the one I said is actually the closest so far in my top 10 was the one I said was really far. They're all just down there. They're all just way down that road. Next up, we have a Christopher Paolini release. Can you believe it? The author, the man, the myth, the legend, the prodigy child who gave us the Inheritance Cycle, which I know gets memed on a lot, but is still an impressive series, is coming out with a sci-fi story. I know, it's titled Top Fantasy Books, but guess what? I lied. A couple of these are gonna be sci-fi, and you can fight me. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars is going to be his return after quite the hiatus, where he will be venturing into the sci-fi genre. And guess what? It's going to be released September 15th. I don't know, there's just something about him being gone and then coming back that has me really interested. I want to see how he's evolved, what his tastes are like, as his prose completely different. Let's just jump on into it, as everyone says on YouTube now, because we all watch Philip DeFranco. And another one, also coming out September 15th. They're going to be competing. These two authors need to fight to the death. Christopher Paolini and Joe Abercrombie. We have The Trouble with Peace. We are continuing our adventure into the First Law world with this next entry. I was blown away by a little hatred. It seems Joe Abercrombie just continues to improve his vision of the First Law world. Yes, I have started the First Law standalones. Chillax, my reviews of them are coming as well. And I am just dying to see how this new trilogy can continue on as well. I mean, it's a Joe Abercrombie book, and it's coming out this year. It's gonna be in my top 10. I'm more excited, though, to have these two authors fight to the death. That's happening now. I've arranged it. It's gonna occur. Now, would you believe me if I said that the next book coming out that I was gonna be talking about would also be a September release? 3 in a row, who could have thunk it? We're getting the Thor of Emberlane. That's right, a speculated release date. It still says just like a maybe on it, but I'm hoping this turns out to be true, is the 4th book in the Gentleman Bastard sequence, which is one of my favorite series of fantasy of all time. It's definitely in my top 10 of all time. Now that we're talking about top 10 releases of fantasy of this year, I'm gonna mention that this one is in my top 10 fantasy, period. It's really good. Check out Gentleman Bastards if you haven't. We were left with an incredibly tantalizing cliffhanger with the 3rd Gentleman Bastards book, and we've all been waiting a long time. We've heard this speculated, hopeful release date, and I haven't seen anything saying it's not going to be this, so I'd say there's about a 50-50 shot it will be this date, and I'm hoping like an 80% chance it's still released this year regardless, so come on, please? At number 3, because I guess I'm keeping track of the number now. I really haven't been, but sure, why not? We have a book coming out from Mark Lawrence. My tumultuous relationship with this author's writing last year was one of the big controversies of the channel. I started out really not liking it, and now I've made the claim that he's one of my favorite fantasy authors currently working after getting through a lot of his back catalog, and I maintain that. Mark Lawrence, he's got some spicy writing there, guys. And the Book of the Ancestor is finished, but we're continuing on with the Book of Ice, and the first one in that is going to be Girl in the Stars. This one is not way off on the horizon. In fact, it's pretty much your next door neighbor. It's coming out April 21st. I already have a copy. I just need to read it. I'm really pumped to do so. I just don't typically read things before they come out because I put out a review of something that hasn't come out. I either get people accusing me of lying and not having actually read the book, or 2, people are really afraid of spoilers, so they just won't watch the review to begin with. So I usually am gonna wait for like a week after the book comes out, typically, and then go ahead and do a review. Or I'll release a review day of release and just clearly mark it spoiler free. So keep an eye out for that. Is Book of Ice gonna be good as Book of the Ancestor? I don't know, let's see. At number 2, we have 2 books because they're in the same series and they're just gonna be released really soon after each other. I didn't want them to take up a bunch of spots, 2 spots to be exact. So I just kind of smushed them into one, but we know it's 2 separate entries, and that would be Peace Talks and Battleground. We didn't know we were going to get 2 Dresden books this year, especially after such a long hiatus of Dresden books. But yes, we are getting 2. The first one is going to be Peace Talks, and that will come out July 14th. And then just a couple months later, we will be getting Battleground, which, as I've seen online, will be released September 29th, though I've been told conflicting things by that, so hopefully we'll stop seeing conflicting information for book releases soon. If you've been paying attention on the channel recently, you know I am completely and totally addicted to Dresden Files right now. I've read 4 books in like 6 days of the Dresden Files because I cannot stop. So yes, I will be caught up, and I probably expect, as quickly as it can humanly be done, a review of Peace Talks to be released here on the channel, as well as probably quite a few like Dresden lore deep dive videos on the channel as well as we get closer and closer, because I'm like marinating in the world of Dresden right now. It's so good. And at number 1, you know what it is. Do I even really need to say it? I don't think I do. I think you're aware of what book is gonna be in the number 1 slot. If you don't, pay attention better. It's gonna be Rhythm of War. Of course it's Rhythm of War. The next book in the Stormlight Archive, largely the most popular epic fantasy currently being written by the amazing, the legendary Brandon Sanderson. Do I think this is going to be the game changer? All of society will just flip on its head after the book comes out and we'll all just kumbaya forever? Yeah, probably. Not to set expectations too high, but that's what everyone seems to be saying online, so I'll just buy into that. This one is also coming out in November. November is going to be one hell of a month for fantasy. I'm ready. I think we're all ready. Let's get it out. Move up the release date. Just put it out today. I know you're not done probably like getting the covers ready and everything. Like boxes need to be shipped around and stuff, but just release it. Just put out the e-copy. I don't care. Just do it. Just do it. That was my list of the books I am most looking forward to jumping on into in 2020. Let me know what books I missed. What ones are you really excited to see enter on into the fantasy community this year? Is there any authors you feel I've neglected here? Let me know, because of course this isn't a complete list. We have hundreds of fantasy books being released, and I just picked the ones from the authors I'm a big fan of, and the books I'm pretty sure gonna be good. I imagine very few of these will disappoint me because I have a lot of faith in the authors writing them. Not to add pressure if you're one of the authors watching. I know a couple of you watch. I know for a fact you do because you told me. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. If you are one of the people who's trying to get me to let you sponsor the channel, please include what your product is in the email you send me. It's very strange when you don't, and then guess what? I'm not going to let you sponsor the channel because that's odd. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.